Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm not Laura Kate Magnet-Dale.
And I'm not Jane Aerith Magnet-Dale. And welcome to another episode of Queer and Pleasant Strangers. It's a podcast. Two queer trans women.
That's us.
That's us. We're wifey types. We have a silly little catch-up once a week and talk about media we've consumed in the week and try and give each other a little bit of a giggle.
Om nom nom, tasty media.
Om nom nom, tasty media.
What have you eaten?
I've not a lot this week.
No, surprisingly not. I mean, we did go out and listen to some music, but we didn't have a track listing for any of that.
Indeed,
so...
and it's going to be a little while before we can get a track listing of what it was we heard. Yeah, it's been a weird week. I have played stuff. Some of it's stuff I can't talk about for work. Some of it's just catching up on ongoing things I'm watching. But I've played at least one new thing that I have thoughts about.
Okay, well tell me about that then.
I've been playing Rift of the Necrodancer.
Ooh.
So, Crypt of the Necrodancer, game from a few years ago, top-down Zelda-ish game, but you had to move and attack on the beat of the rhythm. And these developers have done other games since, they did Cadence of Hyrule, which was a Zelda-themed one of these.
Yeah. But that was very top-down, moving around in time with the beat. Fighting things, and this seems to look more like
they have a new music rhythm thing, and it's a bit different. It is, what if Guitar Hero had enemy types that had movement patterns? So the idea is you've got, you know how with Guitar Hero you have your three or sometimes more, but we'll say 3 here because that's how many this game has, lanes that your notes are coming down on, and when the notes reach the point, you press the corresponding button in time with the rhythm, and that's how you sort of play along with the song. This is that, with a level of complexity layered on top. And that layer of complexity is, the notes are not just notes, they are monsters. And different monsters react in different ways when you hit them on the note track.
Right.
So, you start with some basic ones, like your slimes and your basic level skeletons, that are hey, they reach their point on the note track, you press that button for the corresponding button for the track, you knock them out in one hit, it's just your Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
And then you start getting different colours of enemies. So, maybe a blue slime needs to be hit twice. So it'll reach the end of the note track, you press the button, it'll get knocked back exactly 1 beat, and on the next beat you have to hit it again.
Okay.
Some of them will then behave in different ways when they go up in colours. It's not just the number of hits they need to take. For example, a yellow skeleton, you might hit it once, and it loses its head and starts running away, and runs up the note track until it reaches another enemy on that track, and stops there, and then will start getting pushed back down the note track, and you have to hit it when it comes back down again.
Right.
You've got enemies that have more complicated movement patterns, so bats, if you hit a bat, it'll move back a beat, so that you've got to hit it again on the next beat, but it'll also, I think the default bats are blue, they will move back a space, but also 1 beat in the direction of whichever side they're facing.
Right.
So, I hit it it's looking to the right, and it was in the leftmost track, so I hit it once, and now it's 1 beat back, but it's in the middle track.
Right, yeah.
And this all gets complicated to mentally process, because of the fact that things are still continuing to come down the tracks as you're hitting enemies and knocking them backwards and potentially sideways into other tracks. So I'm looking two beats up on the thing, and I'm oh, there's only a slime two beats from now.
For now.
Yeah, except on the next note, I hit a bat, and it moved up and to the right, and now there's something next to the slime. So I've got to pay attention to that thing I'm hitting will change what that next incoming batch of enemies is about to be. So I can't be mentally pre-preparing for, I can see what the next, 5 beats on the pattern are.
Yeah.
Because they're all changing based on the enemies I'm hitting. And there is a really big variety of ways that these enemies can move, be it zombies that sort of move in a set pattern that maybe bounce back and forth, or some enemies will wrap around the edge to the other side of the screen, Or there's a little guy with a sword that whenever he unsheaths his sword, he will get to the end of his note track on exactly the next beat. Oh. So you've constantly be going to listening out for...
he's unsheathing the sword, he's going to do the sort of super fast zoom.
Yeah, he zooms the whole way down the track. Oh. So as soon as you either hear or see it, you have to be ready to hit that track on the next beat, no matter how far away he is. You've got enemies that will only move on alternating beats, but will move 2 beats at a time, so they'll sort of pause 2, pause 2.
They're on 2s.
You've got sometimes an enemy variant will have a shield, and if it's got a shield, you've got to do a quick double tap on the first beat.
Right.
But if it's an enemy that takes 2 hits, you've got to double tap on the first beat, then hit them on the second beat still.
Yeah.
Maybe they've got triple shields.
Oh, shit.
There's an armadillo, where the standard armadillo you've got to hit 3 times in quick succession, but like the hardest armadillo you only hit on the first and third beat of that pattern.
Uh-huh.
And this is all stuff you have to learn and memorize and learn to internalize.
Yeah.
Because this is a music rhythm game, but it's a music rhythm game where you either have to be very good at reacting to a changing board state, or you have to instinctively get used to, I see that enemy, I know what that's gonna mean for the changing board state.
Yeah.
And it is a lot, initially.
Sounds like it, yeah.
I initially played the demo, and I'm going to be honest, I was a little convinced it wasn't going to be for me. Because the demo is not great at giving you, like, a handful of tracks that gradually introduce these mechanics.
Right.
They have a little handful of tracks, and I get what they're doing with the demo is, we want you to have, like, an easy track to try, a track from the middle of the game, a track from, like, toward the end of the game to give you a sense of what the progression is.
Yeah, but you're not getting enough of the like I've talked about this a few times, I think, about my experiences with Portal 2.
Yeah.
A few times I've tried to, like, just play it from the start all the way through, no problem at all. A couple of times I've gone, oh, you know what, I'm just going to try a later level and just go in from there. And the amount of difficulty I've had, just because I'm not already in that mindset of just thinking with portals, I just can't pick it up. And it's weird how just going in from the middle really doesn't work sometimes with games of that type.
Yes, and it's that very problem that from the demo made me go, oh, by the second track of the demo I'm getting overwhelmed by this.
Yeah.
And playing it through in the finished game, particularly, like, there is a story mode, and there's not too much plot that it's, like, getting in the way of you doing the gameplay, but it does the story mode does a much better job of, like, gradually easing you into, like, here is an enemy, we're gonna have a few tracks with, like, that enemy. Cool, now we're layering that enemy on top of something else, and you're gonna have to be dealing with both of them at once. It gives you space to get comfortable with one thing before it adds another thing in, rather than suddenly there's, like, 6 new mechanics in this song, and I'm trying to take them all in at once. And that has helped a lot. I was initially not convinced it was going to be for me, just because of the amount of cognitive load going on. I came back to it after a night's sleep and played some on stream. Had a much better time.
It's stream as well.
I did. I played it on stream because a bunch of people were like, I'm interested in it. I don't think I'm going to be able to play it. I want to see it to know if it's going to be for me. And I was like, oh, I'll be the canary in the coal mine. I'll suck at this game so that you can have a look at it. And I ended up doing way better that second session playing it. I think just by virtue of not overthinking it, having slept on it, and had a chance for, like, the mechanics I knew on paper to settle in and become background knowledge a little bit. And I'm getting on much better. I'm genuinely enjoying it.
Yay.
It initially felt like a scary amount of hurdle.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I stuck with it, because even when I was really struggling with it, I was enjoying it. I was doing badly, but I wanted to do better. And I felt like that was possible in a way that, like, it's not something like when I played my friend Pedro, where I was, like, instantly very aware I will never be good at this.
Yeah, like, I think I finished my friend Pedro, but, like, the amount of time I spent playing certain levels going, yeah, I'm sure if you've got, like, really great coordination and timing, you can make this look like ballet. I make this look like a drunken accident in a alleyway.
Yeah, it's, I, at least with this, felt confident I was going to improve and was having enough fun along that process I was going to stick with it.
Yeah.
There's also Rhythm Heaven or Elite Beat Agents style minigames peppered throughout the story mode, and they're really charming. There's some really nice 2D animation for those. They're all silly things like putting together a burger order on the rhythm, or like taking photos of a man feeling sexy in the park, doing a little sexy photo shoot for him.
Oh, right.
And sometimes you just have to press to take the photo, sometimes you got to zoom in and then take the photo. And it's all very silly, comedic, sexy poses. Those I've been having a lot of fun with. Those have been a really nice little occasional breakup in the rhythm. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Nice.
Which is good, considering...
You paid for it.
Yeah, it's... I wasn't sure, and then I got on a lot better with it. I will say, definitely plays best with a keyboard rather than like... Because initially I tried playing this on the ROG Ally.
Right.
And the problem is, it's played using left, up, and right directions. And on a D-pad that's like a single-piece D-pad, it can be hard to accurately press those separately in combination or maybe all three at once.
How do you press all three at once on a D-pad?
So, on a D-pad, you can press down on the D-pad to be all three at once.
Oh, okay.
But, like, it's a lot of doing multiples at once precisely in quick routine. So what I was doing was doing left D-pad, Y, and B. So I was doing my up and right inputs on the right-hand side of the controller, and left on the left. But it was still, like, it just didn't quite click. Playing this, I don't like playing on an actual keyboard if I can help it, but this did play way better on a keyboard.
Yay.
I had a much better time with it. It is apparently coming to Switch, and that, not having a traditional D-pad, having having 4 separate directional buttons, I think probably will work way better for a game like this.
I guess,
than a traditional D-pad. I'm curious about the Switch version when it eventually happens. But yeah, what about you? What you been playing?
I've not been playing a huge amount this week. I took like a couple of hours to do a little bit of tinkering in Satisfactory because I think I burnt myself out on that and got to a point that was just way too fucking difficult. But yeah, I mostly spent this week catching up on some of the like Deep Rock Galactic Survivor changes. Obviously, we've had like a whole bunch of extra stuff added to that recently. We've had the Azure Wheels levels added, and I've been trying to go through and doing like a bunch of the weapon mastery stuff. So I've got level 2s on just about everything now, and I've got level 3s on a couple. So yeah, slowly working through that. I finally managed to get back to 100% on the upgrade system after the last time. I had 100% on the upgrade system, and then they changed how the upgrade system worked.
The joys of playing a thing in early access.
It's true. And I guess from the point of view of like someone who is playing it throughout early access, I am at least getting something to like chip away at again, rather than going, I've done all this.
Yeah.
It's just like, it wasn't even like they took the whole thing away. They just slightly changed how it worked, which meant that there was an excuse to do some other stuff with regards to that. Because I think that was about going and picking up special items from boxes hidden in certain types of missions. And with new weapons, new accessories, like the things that you can unlock for doing certain milestones.
Yeah.
There's obviously, with a whole new area, or new biome rather, there's new like achievements to get. Like I just unlocked jet boots, which you get by mining 200 minerals by jumping on them. Did you know you could jump now?
No, I did not.
Yep. Azure Wheels has this whole interesting concept of there's no red sugar anywhere. There's these weird jump platforms that you can sort of walk over, and it'll catapult you up in the air and forward, which is good for getting out of the way of things, but also, like, you will destroy all the rocks directly under you, which can be, like, a nice way of getting through minerals quickly.
Okay.
Like, if you haven't got high mining speed yet, being able to, like, just land on things like Morkite is really fucking handy. And, I've been enjoying playing that stuff, but the fact that there's no red sugar in there is a bit much to get your head around initially, because you're like, I'll find some red sugar eventually. I'll find some eventually. No, there isn't any in this level.
Ouch.
But there is those, you know those tall white crystals that sort of you go into and you get a weird effect around you that sort of swirls around you?
I don't remember
No,
this.
you don't see them very often, but they are in original Deep Rock. And they will give you some health back. But also they can be damaged. And as soon as the central crystal is destroyed, it's like, that's it. You get no more health from here now. Bye. But yeah, I've been enjoying playing more Deep Rock Survivor and just chipping away at that rather than doing big, heavy, constant sessions of it. I think I am getting to a point now where, like, I went through a whole thing of, like, yes, Survivor everything Survivor. And now it's just like, I'm a little bit burnt out on it. But nonetheless, still enjoying, like, chipping away, and especially with Deep Rock, which just looks so pretty as well on top of everything else. And there is so much variety for go back in and try it on higher difficulties with various different handicaps, or to unlock very specific milestones.
Yeah.
Tons to do, and I feel like I've probably done about half of it, maybe. What about you? What else have you played?
That's about it for stuff I can talk about this week.
Secrets. Well then,
Time for this.
Where are all the workers? The office is empty, hell, the city's empty. Who are we supposed to manage and bully now?
Well, they took over the hospitals by force, and then most just wandered into the woods.
I'll fire every last one of them, they'll never work again.
They don't need us anymore. They've decided that since people like us pay them so badly, they're replacing the old money we made so much of with something else, and they're building a society without us.
What was that about the hospitals then?
Oh, they're making sure the most vulnerable can be cared for.
Oh, well, woke nonsense. Well, who's going to care for us? That's what I want to know. You think I'm getting my own damn coffee?
I think you'll have to.
Fuck.
hello.
Yes?
We've got a new sponsor.
Who's our new sponsor?
Well, do you sometimes have extreme paranoia?
I've been known to have a touch of the paranoia
Are
from
you
time
like,
to time.
hey, we're going away, we're going far away from home for a weekend. We're going somewhere we could not feasibly travel back on the same day.
Popping back just to double check something, not really an
Not
option.
possible.
I've done journeys like that from time to time.
Have you then immediately been filled with the terror, fantastic terrors and possibilities of not having locked the door, left the gas on, left the water running?
Oh god, yeah. And I took pictures of all those things, but like, what if I look in my camera roll and those might be old pictures of those things?
What if Smudge happens to stumble over the taps and the gas taps on the hob and manages to get the drill out and drill through the floor?
Oh no! New things to be worried about!
New things that we couldn't be worried about.
Please tell me there's a solution.
This week's sponsor is didilock.that.lol.net. It's a private home security camera system exclusively designed to let you check a live feed that you locked the windows, didn't leave the gas on, and made sure the water is fine, all from your phone.
I mean, I don't like the way you emphasize the word private there, but I mean, how bad could it be having a camera feed that the entire camera feed is just the buttons on the hob? Like, I don't know how much someone could do with that information.
Well, also, you'll notice that there's a feed showing how locked the windows are.
There
which
it
do
is.
sort of point out of the windows and do...
Can we just point
do
it down a
imply
little bit?
whether or not-
Can we point it down a little bit so we can see the lock, but not out the window?
But how would you know which window it is?
Label it, maybe? I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's didilockthat.lol.net. Enter the code Q&PS Ring 2025. Hang on. What's this got to
Hang
do
on
with
a
Ring?
minute. This is the police trying to get video footage of the house again, isn't it?
Again, every fucking time. Well, fuck this week's sponsor then, I guess.
I'll just have to trust my own photography.
Me. So, what did you put in your eyes?
I watched a film this week.
I watched a film. That's how you usually watch films. With your eyes.
I did use my eyes to watch a film. I saw a film called Companion.
Ooh.
And I've been thinking about how to talk about this film in a way that is, like, not too spoilery. Because I want to talk about it a bit more clearly than the advertising for the film did.
Right.
Without talking in huge depth about it. So, Companion has had interesting marketing in that, like, the description on, like, the cinema website about the film makes it sound like a rom-com, but it's tagged as, like, thriller, suspense, dark comedy. And the one trailer I had seen for this was a man sat at a very fancy table with a woman holding her hand above a flame, burning her hand and not taking her hand away from the flame. And I was like, I have no idea what any of this means.
Yeah.
And what I want to say is, I think this film is fantastic, but there was about 5 minutes where it was an incredibly hard watch, and it had not yet played its hand as to what it was doing, and without the context of where it was going, it was 5 minutes or so of really, and this is, and there's gonna be comedy in this film, huh? There's gonna be this film's gonna be like a feel good thriller, is it? So this is where I'm debating how, like, I don't know whether I want to say what the thing is that happens, or whether I just say...
You can hit Laura up in private message on...
Yeah, okay, I'm going to start by talking about things prior to the reveal of what it's doing. The setup for the film is a man and his girlfriend go with another couple of couples to hang out in this very fancy house in the middle of nowhere, owned by a guy called Sergey, who has a lot of money and seems like the stereotype of, like, oh, you have a lot of money because you've killed people for a very long time, no one fucks with Sergey, seems like the vibe. And it's literally a little unclear, like, how some of these people know each other. They're just having a nice, weekend together in the woods. And the inciting incident of this film is that one of the people here ends up murdering Sergey in self-defense after he attempts sexual assault against her. There is more to this film. There is like a whole reveal to this film that you can see why I'm this far into the film and going, the fuck is... where are we going with this?
Right.
Because at the time it just seemed like a very dark, serious film about abuse.
Yeah.
What I can say, like, big picture about it, because I do think it's a fantastic film, it is a very good film about the evil that is cis-straight white men feeling ownership over and disregard for the humanity of women. And that is explored in a way that is, like, there is a gimmick to how that is explored that I think is, like, incredibly well done in terms of, like, giving visual symbolism for a lot of, like, really making a lot of shitty, unstated male behavior very tangible in a way that I think is very impressive. With things I can say about it that I don't think are too spoilery about where it's going. There is a point in this film where a man who has done nothing but be the villain consistently the entire fucking film has a monologue about how he deserves more from the world and the world just won't give him what he deserves, and why is he so hard done by the world as a cis-straight white man? Why is the world so... It's so hard for a cis-straight white man.
And this was a film and not just a Twitter post.
Yeah, it is a genuinely fascinating film with some really good, like, I want to reassure, it has some really good female characters, some really good queer characters, some really fascinating world-building conceits used. It is not nearly as dark and hopeless as, like, my explanation at the start of it sounds. It is it is a film about overcoming the terribleness that is toxic, entitled men. And the kind of abusive, controlling, manipulative behavior that men that feel entitled to women exhibit. In a way that is very about overcoming that shittiness. I will probably, after we finish recording to this, talk to you in spoilery terms about it. I do think it's a fantastic film. If you're unsure, if you're like, I trust Laura's judgment in films, but I do need slightly more than she's giving me here. I would say just start reading a summary on Wikipedia until the bit where you get to, oh, I see what the thing is. Like, I don't think that it's gonna ruin the film knowing the thing. They get to the twist early enough that, like, you know, it's fine. But it is one of those where I'm like, I do think there is some value in getting there unexplored. I might just do a quick 30 seconds here for anyone who is curious. If you want to skip ahead 30 seconds, if you want to know nothing about this film, 30 seconds, skip ahead, start now. It's an exploration of robots as romantic/sex companions who may not know that is what they are, and a man having the ability to literally do things like manipulate the intelligence of his romantic partner via an app, and overcoming someone with that level of shitty manipulative control in a situation. Yeah, it is a great film at examining abusive, controlling behavior and making you want to see the downfall of a truly terrible person. Fascinating film, if one that I struggle to know how to talk about because the film is so confusing in how it talks itself about what it is. What about you? What you put in your eyes this week?
I read a bunch of comic books. So I started off with the Adventure Zone, The Suffering Game. This is chapter, I want to say 6 in this.
I think so, yeah.
In this story. So, we've talked about the Adventure Zone probably many times on this series, right from the very beginning.
Yeah.
This was originally a McElroy Brothers podcast, a D&D theme that I think they started off playing, like, pre-gen characters out of the adventure box when 5e was first launching. And it sort of spiraled into kind of their own thing with this huge sprawling narrative that, went beautifully together over 7 arcs and was very well regarded. And we've had a number of comic books beautifully drawn by Carrie Peach. And it's huge chunky volumes covering an entire arc of the story in beautifully drawn, beautifully coloured, and well changed for the we need to get rid of all the 5e references, all of the very specific spells and things like that. We've renamed certain things. Obviously, some of it's generic enough that they can just use it anyway. They've slightly tightened up some of the dialogue. They've just added extra jokes and stuff. And I think that's probably where Clint has probably had a good job stepping in and doing some of the editing to the dialogue. And Suffering Game is very specifically about the Tres Horny Boys are after the Animus Bell. Another of the. Basically, they've spent the entire thing trying to collect these
magic
objects of powers.
Yeah.
Objects of power to be destroyed by the Bureau of Balance and try and save the world from big bad evil. And this one is very specific. It seems like such a simple setup of a game show idea. They go in, they know exactly what they want out of it, but the stakes in this game are astronomical. Yeah, you spin the wheel, you have to give up a thing, and then once 3 things have been given, everyone's allowed to proceed through the door. But the thing you might have to lose is a finger, or an eye, or 10 years of your life. Yeah, I think it tells the story really well, surprisingly quickly. I can't remember how long the Suffering Game was, but I do remember it feeling quite grueling.
Yeah. I think anything where anything in actual play where you have to sit with the players umming and ahhing about a difficult choice is inevitably going to feel more grueling than the series of events by itself.
Yes. I mean, it's a chunky volume, but I think I read through it in basically a day. Yeah. Beautiful artwork. The story, it remains unchanged, but obviously we are getting to that point just before the final arc of, like, uncovering all the big mysteries and finding out all the secrets.
Yeah, we are on the precipice of the stolen century, and that is going to break my heart all over again.
Oh, yes. But, there's some beautiful visual design elements in this around certain glitch effects that anyone who knows the story will know what that's all about. But yeah, like the way it's been drawn, I think is really well done. And once again, it's got like a bit at the back that breaks down the process of designing the different areas, designing the character specifically for this arc, designing a very specific weapon that became quite iconic towards the end of that story. And, I mean, it's some of the most, difficult story. This story got real fucking dark.
Yeah.
In the last two arcs.
Yeah, it doesn't shy away from, hey, this is the point where shit's gonna get dark. We're warning you up front. Be ready. We're not throwing this into the story out of nowhere.
Nope.
The consequences gonna consequence.
Oh, they sure are gonna consequence. But yeah, I had a good time reading that. It was beautiful and well done. I love the colour choices. Very warm, very colourful. Very much enjoyed that. And then I read through a couple of Sonic the Hedgehog comic books that I've had. I think I got them as part of a Humble Bundle years ago, and I hate reading comic books on a monitor. But now I have a tablet, so I found that really easy to just sit down and read. I read through Countdown to Chaos and The Chase. Really interesting story about at some point Eggman was trying to do something with the Genesis wave, the Sega Genesis wave, perhaps. And it's Supersonic tried to stop it with Chaos Control, and it kind of ripped all possible universes apart.
I hate when you rip all possible universes apart.
Right, and so there seems to be, like, one area where some people remember multiple existences, and things aren't exactly as they were in the Prime universe, and also just trying to, like, stop the general population from suffering. The Chase kind of starts to follow that, and then very quickly goes, okay, you've had, like, 2 You know how a volume of a comic book is usually, like, 3 or 4 issues? This is 2 issues. This is 2 issues of the main story, and then it's just like, okay, we're going to tell you some backstory about some of the characters if you don't know about them already. So it's just like, I feel kind of blue balls by this comic book, but the story was compelling. It's not necessarily compelling enough that I'm going to go out and buy more Sonic the Hedgehog.
This feels like every time I try and read comics, it's constantly like this.
This is why you tend to buy full stories.
Yeah, ones where it's just,
stories.
Yeah, it's like, hey, can I just read like a contained book that has a story in it?
And that's why I will eventually get round to finishing Spider-Gen and whatever the one after that is. I really enjoyed those. I've also got some Doctor Who comics, but I haven't started yet, and I will report back to you as soon as I've got on with those. But it's been nice having a chance to read those books that I was just like, probably never going to do that.
Yeah.
And maybe save straining bookshelves a bit as well, because I tend to buy comic books, read them, and maybe read them again in like a decade. But boy howdy, they're dense and they're heavy and they're a pig to move house with. But yeah, I read some comic books, I had a really nice time. Beautiful artwork, great speed and motion, and helpful enough that it will point you in the direction of every other issue that you might have missed, or even just sometimes just referencing the games. It's like, I've definitely played Sonic Adventure. I know what that's about. Yeah, what about you? Have you looked at anything else?
That's about it for me.
No, I mean, we've watched more Severance, but we definitely can't talk about that right now.
No, I will say, Severance has been fucking fantastic at giving you a great cliffhanger and then following it up immediately with not the follow-up to the cliffhanger, but secretly the best fucking episode possible. It's not what you wanted, but it's what you needed.
Yeah.
It's done that more than once. Like, I would argue the season 1 finale into season 2 episode 1 is a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Episode 3 into episode 4 of season 2, very... I'm like, yeah, of course the next episode's gonna be this. Nope. Totally different best episode of the season.
Yeah, and the question is what? Because we've now had 2 consecutive huge mic drop moments.
Yeah,
what is the next episode?
Yeah, which one are we coming back to? Which of these cliffhangers are we going to get to see play out? Or is it going to be nothing? Is it going to be another episode that goes somewhere totally different and does something? A third mic drop?
We're going full Lynch on this. We're never going to give you answers. We will give you so many more questions.
I am wondering. I'm so curious if they're just going to keep dragging the blue balls again. Give us a third mic drop that we're curious about, maybe even a fourth, and then start coming back to explain
the
what
last
happened
episode will wrap up every single episode that you've watched so far.
At this point, we've got, I think, 6 episodes left, so you could do at least 1 or 2 more unrelated mic drops and still have enough episodes left to do a follow-up episode to each of the mic drops that you left hanging. They could do it.
Or even just one episode that just explains it all.
Yeah.
With seeming ease and grace.
Some fucking amazing character acting in episode 4.
Amazing character acting. I've very much enjoyed just the storytelling as a whole. I am very much enjoying this series, even if I can't really talk about it here.
It's nice to have a show that's brought back that feeling I had watching Lost as it was airing, but while feeling a lot tighter in its pacing and a lot more purposeful in where it's going. Like, the fact that they're looking at, 3 seasons is probably where they're gonna, end it at. As opposed to, dragging out to Lost's, 7. I'm like, that's good. Have a tight finish line in mind and head for it. Yeah, it's just nice having a show to, be theory crafting about week to week, but also to just enjoy the character performances in.
Yeah, I think the last time I had something this in depth was probably Twin Peaks: The Return.
Yeah.
And I was surrounded by a lot of, big Lynch fans and a lot of big Twin Peaks fans, and just theory crafting a lot and going, just what the fuck is happening right now? What is episode 8? What do?
Twin Peaks: The Return might be the last time that we watched a thing and then instantly went, fuck. Do you want to put that on again?
Yeah.
Do you want to just rewatch that episode?
That was very much this week's episode of Severance. We watched it twice, back to back on the same day.
I mean, it's been multiple season 2 episodes where we've gone, do you want to rewatch? Do you want to watch through again?
I don't know how many we've watched on the same day.
I know we watched episode 1 of season 2, I think twice in the same day.
No, I think we watched episode 1, then we watched episode 1 again, I think the following day, then we watched episode 2, followed by episode 1 again.
Yeah, we've, at the very least, episodes 1, 2, and 4, we, in very quick succession, will rewatch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something special. That show's something special.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't started watching it, get into it. Severance is good.
It's really good.
Yeah. But that's everything I've put in my eyes this week.
That's everything I put in my eyes.
Well, time for this.
Inside the boardroom of Supremacy Software.
Hi. So, new game's not selling well.
Huh.
Yeah.
But it's one of our games.
Yeah.
Everyone buys our games.
Yeah. And we made them change direction during development 4 times, chasing current industry trends.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Is this one of those things where it's actually not selling well? Or is it that we basically told people that they were going to get bonuses based on whether or not the game sold an unreasonable number that even we, secretly know is impossible?
Well, I mean, it was never going to sell that well, but it's not selling well enough that I'm going to get as much money as I want.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that just won't stand.
And, obviously, we're not to blame. The executive's never to blame.
Never.
Could not be.
Could not.
My executive meddling has never done anything but make a game better.
So much better.
But I think it's time. It's been a little while. I think it's time to bring back out the dartboard.
I love the dartboard.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's bring in the dartboard of excuses our new game didn't sell well that doesn't blame the executives.
All right, do you want to take the first shot at this, or shall I?
After you.
Okay. Let me throw this one. Okay, it didn't sell well because marketing failed to explain the appeal of the game. It's not our fault. It's marketing. You want to take a shot?
Ah, bullseye, DEI, every time.
Oh, every time. I can't believe we put an entire one woman in there. That's clearly why it didn't sell.
She barely had a clothes,
right?
So I thought we'd get away with that, but apparently
not. Apparently
we've
not.
ruined video games.
Okay, let me give it a shot. Give it a shot. Uncontrollable market forces. It's not that our game wasn't good, just the economy.
The economy. It's a fickle beast.
Yeah, we launched on the wrong day. The economy just didn't have our backs. I mean, that's very rare for us. The economy usually loves to have our back.
Oh, it has our back. It doesn't have the game's back.
It doesn't have the players' backs.
No.
Okay, you reckon that'll do, or?
I think we've covered all the bases.
Exactly. Dartboard, you're a fucking genius.
You are a fucking genius, yeah.
We know.
I'm feeling really uninspired for writing comedy given how things are right now.
Oh god, totally understandable. It can be pretty hard to laugh at such times.
What's some old staples for people who don't know how to be funny or creative anymore?
Oh, transphobia.
Hell no.
Right-wing grift?
Definitely not.
Starting public beef with someone in your industry?
I'm just not that kind of person. What if I could do the opposite of that? What if I could just, build someone up instead? What's the opposite of beef?
Corn? Tofu? Seitan?
Sure, okay, that works. Okay, I'm gonna find someone deserving, and I'm gonna start the biggest tofu this industry has ever seen. I'm gonna support someone so hard they think they've got a marketing team.
Yeah!
Yeah! Do you know what I want to see more of?
What do you want to see more of?
Racial Justice Warriors.
Racial Justice Warriors?
Yeah.
Alright, Larry.
Right, Barry, how you doing?
Oh, I'm worried I'm coming down with something, to be honest, mate.
Oh, feeling a bit run down, are you?
Well, I don't know. I feel like I've got a cold brewing, which is awkward, because I haven't had one since I had COVID about 2 years ago. It's the joy of working from home and, wearing a mask out a lot.
Definitely helps.
Yeah, you doing alright, though?
I'm trying to get by.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's all been a lot. It's all been a lot trying to keep on top of world happenings on and whatnot.
Oh, the world sure is happening right now.
World sure is happening consistently. And I've been trying to remind myself this week to be like, I know it is overwhelming, particularly seeing a lot of the stuff that Trump's been doing.
And so much of it.
Yeah, trying to rapid fire out as many flimsy but terrifying legal things as he can in rapid succession.
Yeah, and I know people are saying, it's deliberate shock and awe and, don't get overwhelmed by it and stuff, but that really is easier said than done, to be honest.
Oh, for sure. But the thing I'm trying to do to reassure myself is focus on the fact that a lot of these things are already being challenged in court, and a lot of them have already been overturned and successfully challenged. And that is certainly not the battle is over.
No.
But it is reassuring, taking a minute to focus on and remind myself of. There are people going, that is bullshit, we should fight that, and having some success in doing so. Because the thing with him throwing so many things at the wall so quickly is none of them are terribly well thought through. He's not had time to think any of them through.
No, we had that other thing the other week where they accidentally decided that everyone was female.
Oh yeah, everyone in America was female, yeah. Well, that's the thing. Everything is so flimsily done that it is, thankfully, full of holes that are challengeable. Yeah. And it's a lot of work. It's that whole a lie travels around the world considerably faster than a correction or the truth.
Yeah.
But, it's a lot more work to fight one of his bullshit things than it is for him to throw it out. But it is reassuring to remember a lot of it is being fought and a lot of it is not sticking.
Yeah.
Taking that for what it
remains
is.
that way.
Yeah.
And, I hope that the US representatives do something more than stand around outside buildings they've been told they're not allowed to go into, and by a person with a clipboard, from what I could tell.
Yeah, I'm not underselling how bad things are, but I'm trying to remind myself it is not all bleak news. There is positive fight back happening, and I shouldn't underestimate that.
Yeah, and as always, it's important not to write off the people from red states, because obviously there's a lot of vulnerable, queer, trans, black, disabled people living in those states who don't deserve to be written off just because of the people running the place.
Exactly.
Fancy, young mate.
Oh yeah.
Good hug, mate. Good hug. Right, I think I'm going to have a little hot lemon, mate.
Oh, sounds lovely.
Nice.
So, Laura,
Yes?
you do things people want to find, and where they find them.
Oh, they find them at Laura K. Buzz pretty much everywhere. Laura K. Buzz on Blue Sky, TikTok, Patreon, that's the one that pays the bills, as little as $1 a month over there. It means that I can keep doing all this stuff. YouTube, Twitch, find me on all the things, Laura K. Buzz. This week there's a new episode of Control Alt Access that's out. We're a few episodes into the new Dice Funk season at this point. I think 3, maybe 4 episodes of the new Dice Funk.
The third episode just went up.
Yeah, so you can hear me being a dragon that is hoarding essentially Ariel from The Little Mermaid doohickeys and thingamabobs. So you can go check that out. Yeah, there's probably some other stuff. Laura K. Buzz, what about you? Where are you out on the internet, Jane?
Well, I don't have the unified branding, but I do have a link tree. It's linktree.ee/Janiac, Janiac. You can find all the things I've done, and you can help support me at patreon.com/stonedmonkeyradio. As little as $1 a month helps me do all the things. Much like how yours helps you do all the things. But that's it for me. Laura,
Yes?
will you sing us out, please, darling?
Until next time, be a stranger.